That's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Come on, Daddy. Come on. Big deep breaths.
Big breath.
Come on. Let's have an amazing conversation. Let's go.
Okay. Welcome to We Are Self-Made Podcast. This is not your traditional show on entrepreneurship with quitty quotes about failing fast and often, but an honest look at the good, bad, and ugly. This is an experiment documenting the journeys of 7 entrepreneurs over time. Today, I speak to John. He is known for building a freelancing design business. Hi, John. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good to be here for the second check-in.
Oh, I'm excited. We just chatted about your progress and all the stuff you went through, and we're going to talk about your monthly wins today, what tasks you didn't accomplish, and what you have learned this month about yourself and your business. And your goals, to just really restate them, for the next 6 months, you're trying to get up your finances from 1.5, 2K to 5K, allowing you to go back to London. And you are also looking for passive income ideas to be less depending on freelancing so that you generally don't need to trade time for money. So that's your overall big goals. And then you had, we talked about niching down in our last episode, how important it is that you want to niche down on your Upwork profile. So we're going to talk about it today. But before we do so, on a scale from 1 to 10, how happy, content are you right now?
I think I'm at a 6 or 7. Yeah, I would say maybe 7. I think that's a good estimation.
How do you feel about your progress last month?
So last month was a bit of a mixed thing. A couple of weeks after I spoke to you, it went really well, and I made some changes we talked about. So I've niched down in my Upwork account and stuff. But I started over the last 2 weeks, I started getting very stressed out, getting a little bit, just a little bit scatterbrained all over the place, and it's been a bit of a challenge. So I decided, I made an executive decision, and I said, okay, I'm going to go away for 3 or 4 days and just unplug from the laptop, because I haven't done it for the last 3 or 4 months. I've been grinding at being at the computer every day, answering emails, hustling for jobs and fulfilling the jobs, and we've been making money. It's not like we haven't been getting anywhere, but I just felt like my brain and just me in general was just so tired that I just wasn't in a position to be making any new decisions. I wasn't in a position to be motivated to do any of the new stuff that I can do to improve my my efforts towards my goal. And I just decided to take 4 days out. So I went with my girlfriend to the mountains, a place called Sapa in North Vietnam, which is an amazing town. It's literally this little town in the middle of the Vietnamese mountains. And I just used that time to just try and decompress and unplug, and it kind of worked. Coming back, I'm a lot more fresh. I'm a lot more. My mind is in a much better place, and my mindset is strong. And I feel optimistic about moving forward. And there's some things that have happened over the last week that have, I think, just put me in a better position to gain leverage and get better jobs and stuff. So yeah, I'm excited.
That's amazing to hear. And before we talk about your big wins over the last month, small or big, let's call them big, the wins, because we are gradually moving forward anyway. I wanted to quickly chat about our chat we had after the last episode, where we both had I wouldn't say disagreement, but you kind of urged me to be, hey, Danny, you need to be aware that pushing people maybe too hard into one direction might make them close off. And I wanted to quickly address this issue because I got your point, right? I want you to move forward, and I want you to, I want to push you, but in a way I don't want to close you up. So that's a fine line in listening and mentoring and coaching someone. Would you mind repeating your position you shared after our last chat? And it dealt with the niche thing, where we talked about how important it is to niche down, and I was really like more like brutal to you, not brutal, but like really forceful, like, hey John, you need to niche down, and you felt like a little, oh, I'm closing down or closing off.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad like the way you approach it at all. Like, I think we do have to push these things, and there's a reason. Like I've said a few times, there's a reason why we're not doing what we're doing, right? There's a reason why we're not succeeding on the level we want to succeed. It's through either beliefs, or we're just not doing what we say we should be doing. We're preaching certain things, but we're not actually executing and stuff. And there's lots of hidden reasons for that. It can be beliefs, it can be circumstances, or just excuses, or it can be genuine just circumstances that are tough, and you haven't been through it before. But
so do you see this, what I did there? So after the chat, you were like a little defensive, and you wanted to give me this feedback. Do you see this a little different? So it actually helped you to be pushed?
It does, but I think we all have, a little bit of an ego. Well, I say a little bit, but a lot of us have a big ego. Yes. And it's a thing that I am conscious of. I'm conscious that sometimes I probably have a little bit too much pride, and it's not nice. Like I said, it's not nice when someone says you're wrong. It's always a little bit inside you that, or not even that you're wrong. Like, you can't say that you're right and I'm wrong. Like, sometimes, it's just opinion based. But at the end of the day, if someone disagrees with you, or they challenge your thinking, and they come from a position where they're like, no, I think something very opposite. I think you might be wrong here, or I disagree with you on this fact. It's always challenges you.
Yeah.
But
and as you said after the show, or in one of the recordings before, you said, like, I got really hot. I can't bullshit my way out of it. And you can really feel how the habits and the bad thinking in your mind clashes with your actions, because we are recording this live. And usually we have the self-talk with ourselves, and there we can betray ourselves and can justify our actions, and so at a good day we feel like Superman, and at a bad day we feel like a loser, right? So it's up and downs. And as you said, like, documenting this journey and openly sharing it, you can't bullshit your way out of it.
I think there's always, like I said to you after the podcast, I just think as long as it's done with empathy, and you're kind of coming from a position where you're trying to encourage people, and not just being a antagonist just for the sake of it, then I think it's, I think that's healthy. But yeah, like it's for me, it's a natural thing. Like, it's a thing that I've always had. Like, anytime I'm challenged, it's easy to go within oneself and kind of retreat back into your head. That's a thing that I do. I've struggled with a lot of my life, but and so, a bit of disagreement probably happens there when, I'm a thinker, right? So when something is brought to me and it hurts, or it's something new, and I'm facing some kind of fear or challenge in my head, I tend to retreat a little bit. And that's just me. Like, not everyone's like that. A lot of people can take a lot of conflict and a lot of disagreement and still move forward within a conversation. But sometimes, yeah, that's a natural thing that sometimes I would do, that I kind of just retreat a little bit and not open up as much. So that's what I was talking about in that respect. But, at the end of the day, like I said to you, you were kind of right. And I knew that I had to niche down. But
so let's talk about it. What were a few wins over the last weeks that you can share?
So I was doing, when we talked last time, I was in the midst of doing quite like 2 or 3 jobs, which were based around doing branding and marketing pitch decks, which I hadn't really done before. So I've done a lot of like stuff for advertising, like marketing and things, but I've never really had to do many pitch decks. But there were like some creative pitch deck jobs that I acquired, and they just were like kind of taking 10 slides and making them look really good, like a little bit of branding involved, like making the core messages come through on each slide, communicating. And I found it very easy for my skill set. And also the markup is very good. Yeah. So at the moment, people are paying like $300 for like 10 slides. Wow. For a PowerPoint presentation, for like the heavily branded stuff, like the stuff that has a lot of visual content and things, which is a really good markup. Like I could do that kind of work in a day and a half or something, or 2 days worth of work. So that's sometimes even less. So depending on how much design is needed, but I enjoyed it as well, and I thought it was it kind of it complemented my skills, because my design, like we talked about before, my design skills are very broad, and I've done a lot of stuff because I went through a year or two of just taking anything I could get. Yeah. So I have a lot of experience in the visual stuff and what looks good and what doesn't. And I find that kind of more art director role, where you're kind of looking at a whole brand and then making creative decisions within that kind of box it hones my skills, and it complements them very well. So and I think it's an entry point into doing branding, which is a higher price. So basically, I made a decision. I said, okay, there's a good amount of jobs coming through on a consistent basis on Upwork for presentations, for pitch decks and branding and stuff. So I niched down. So I've changed my Upwork account to presentation design and branding. And I've put the first 2 pages of my portfolio collection as just all the presentations I've done and all the heavy branding kind of visual design that I've done as well. And I've changed my whole account, so it's kind of geared towards that. Nice. And I've started getting proposals coming through, like 1 or 2 every 3 days. Of, the price point went up straight away. So before I was looking at jobs like $150 a job to $100 a job, and I was having to hustle and really do like 2 or 3 jobs at a time. Now it's gone up to more like $300 to $500 a job.
Just because you changed because you niched down, you changed the profile on Upwork, people had a better understanding what you offer, what your value is that you bring to the table, and that led to higher requests, so to say.
Yeah, and also I chose a spectrum of jobs and also a product like presentation, basically, that is just a higher price point. So, there's a lot of like in the startup culture, pitch decks matter, because if you're trying to get investors to come to you and buy into a product and try and fight, you're presenting to a bunch of investors about what they can provide and what this company is about, it's important. And if you're pitching to someone, it's one of the most important things in the room is what that looks like and how it portrays the brand. So people are prepared to pay from $300 to some of the high end ones to $1,000 to just make a 20-slide pitch deck look amazing, have a brand identity, and it be consistent throughout. And I feel I can do that. There's a little bit of a learning curve with PowerPoint, because I've done a little bit over the last couple of weeks of actually designing within PowerPoint, but I have a lot of skills within the visual side that I can do graphics and stuff and bring that into a presentation. So the price point's just gone up.
Nice. So who's coming through? Is this startups? Is it individuals? Do you see a pattern there?
Mostly, it's mostly entrepreneurs who are trying to get funding or or like service-based businesses that they're pitching to like B2B, so business to business clients. So they're like, look, this is what we do. I've done a few things for some product-based businesses, and they're trying to get investors. Also, like social marketing kind of companies that are just looking for clients.
And do you see a trend there that more startups or more service-based businesses are reaching out to you?
It's a mix.
It's a mix.
Like,
okay.
I would say it's kind of, I would say right now I'm seeing about 40% startups, and then the rest are kind of businesses that are going to like companies and pitching their services or pitching their product, and trying to get like customers, like clients, to pay them 10 or 20K.
What do you feel about even niching further down to only focus on startups or potential aspiring startup founders who know that their pitch deck, it's almost like a meal, right? If the meal looks great, you want to eat it. And same is true for startups. And that's based on my own experience when I had my own startup. The nicer your presentation looks, the more likely you are that investors open it, listen to you, and it instantly increases your street credibility.
Mm-hmm. Right now, because niching down to presentations for me, I've only done 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But I feel that it is a good place that I can definitely add value, and I can definitely do a lot of the jobs that are coming through. But I feel right now that it's enough. Like, I feel it's enough right now because there's a learning curve there.
Yeah.
That for me is like pushing my boundaries, and it's pushing my comfort zone. I don't want to push my comfort zone too much because I'm niching down in the product. If I niche down with the product and then the industry, I think I'm going to be in deep water a little bit because I haven't worked with enough startups within a presentation job to know exactly what they need and exactly how to do that. So that is definitely something that I could look at over the next month if this goes well. But right now, I think there's enough. I think there's enough there. Like, I think there's enough jobs there, and to be honest, in a design sense, there's design fundamentals, the fundamentals of design, which they're very like cemented in. Like, there's foundations of design, and once you know those things, you can apply that to if it's a company or if it's a startup. Like,
I know
it's
for me, it's less about the craft and your traits you bring to the table. It's more like from a customer perspective, right? If you say,
sure.
I'm focusing on service-based business or startups, it will double your trust in their eyes immediately because they think, oh, he's only working for startups. He understands me. Perfect. But I get your point that right now you don't want to go the next step. But let's see where it will be when we talk next. I feel you need to do the next step, but you might not have enough data right now, which is okay, to not do the next step, right? And there are a lot of startups.
I just need a little bit. I feel like I need a little bit more experience because right now I'm kind of niching down into something that I have limited experience in, but I feel like I can bring value, and I know I can do the jobs. It's just I need a little bit more time.
On a side note, I just had this idea. Please write it down. I have a friend who works in Berlin. He's called the Pitch Doctor. He was on the StartupGeist podcast as well. So I'm gonna reach out to him and just ask him how, whenever he does pitch training, he says the pitches suck, and the PowerPoint slides suck too. So they need help in not only how to deliver the pitch, but the slides as well. So I'm gonna connect the two of you, and he's just one example of how you can leverage coaches who deal with startups, or coaches or consultants who deal with other companies, who then you can almost jump on their back and offer your service. Is there any other win you can share from last month?
Yeah, so one big win I had was I kind of did a lot of thinking about what are the core things that I need to be focused on to be able to move forward with the strongest version of myself. And I feel like a few things that happened over the last week, that some opportunities have come up for me to work on my health. A friend of ours, I think Hugh's on this podcast as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hugh Robinson is a good friend of mine as well, and I've traded some experience with him, and we're doing a thing where I'm providing some design services for him, and he's also one-on-one coaching me. And it's a big thing for me right now because I think it's time to really focus on my health and my energy. It's a big thing that holds me back, and it's my sleep patterns are not good at all. They're pretty poor, and I just have to really start looking at the things that are going to push me forward and the things that are going to keep me strong, like as doing this work, because my energy is one thing that really does stop me from performing at the level that I feel like I could. And it's time to really just start looking at my health as a consistent thing where I feel like I've been running away from it for a while. And I got to a stage in my life, I realized I got to a stage in my life about 5-6 years ago where I was just so fed up with having to think about health issues. And, I went through a long period of just stuff coming up, like on a 6-month basis, one thing will come up and it's like, oh, fuck, now I have to deal with this. Now I have to do this thing every day to do certain things with my body and stuff. And it's like, I started to get to a point where I was just tired, and I started to kind of just accept it so that I didn't really have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So for a long time, I feel like I've just accepted that I'm tired. I've accepted that I can't do more than 6 hours work without having to, sleep for an hour or something like that. And it's not good enough. And I think it's to move forward and to do the things that I want to do in the future, I really have to start focusing on that. So we didn't really talk about it before, but that's one big aha I've had. And I feel like that has to be implemented with this. And it's a great opportunity because I've got accountability with you, and I'm going to also have accountability with Hugh moving forward with my health. So right now it's like a perfect catalyst to keep.
Yeah. And that's in line with one of my life's philosophies as well, where I feel like everything we do in life is based on our health. And in order to fulfill like 3 key entrepreneurial skills that I think it's focus, to know what to focus on, you need to know your options, right? Yeah. And in order to know your options, you need to have a broad like knowledge spectrum, which is based on health, right? Health, fundamental, then it's know-how, and then you have like different skills you need to really practice on a daily basis, and it's focus is one of them. Self-awareness and caring is another one, and especially caring for me, it's a big one because I'm so self-obsessed with my making money, doing this, that I don't really care about the customers, the clients. So this is like a big challenge for me, and as it's focus as well, right? And as you say, like health, it's a fundamental base for everything. And what worked for me is the morning routine, and I'm looking forward to what you do with you and your coaching, and hopefully you can share it soon. Do you have like 1 or 2 routines that you're trying to implement right now in order to improve your sleep patterns and sleep habits, and maybe other stuff you do?
Yeah, so basically I've had a morning routine for the last 3 or 4 months, which I've actually been able to keep consistently, which I'm really happy about. And it's just a small 30-minute one. And it's like, gratification, kind of a bit of a breathing exercise in the morning, wake up, like get sun. I try and get sun into my eyeballs and like wake up and breathe. So that's like a 30-minute to an hour kind of routine. That's one thing I've done for 3 or 4 months. Right now, what I'm trying to do is also implement a small routine into my evening before I go to bed, because that's the thing I'm struggling with at the moment. I keep falling asleep on the like sofas and stuff, and not really getting my head in the right space to actually get a good quality sleep. And I'm looking at my phone too much, or looking at my laptop, and not really disconnecting enough to be able for my brain to relax and actually get the sleep that it needs. So I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to put a little bit more of a routine in the evening as well, so that I have a morning and an evening routine, which is a lot more of a challenge because with evening, if stuff happens, if you have plans, it's a lot harder to say like I'm going to go to bed like at 10 p.m. every night because you meet someone and it goes over. I've always struggled with that with consistency. Once the times change or the environment changes, my routine just goes to absolute pot. So that's the thing that I'm working on. The biggest thing for me out of this training that I'm looking to get out of it is consistency, because I've done everything that I know I should do before. I've done it before. It's not doing it which is the issue. It's doing it on a long-term basis. It's doing it for a year. It's doing it and integrating it into my life and into my routine where it becomes a part of me. Like I normally get to like 2 or 3 months. Mm-hmm. And then it's like starts. I have a weekend where I'm like, oh, I just do this for a bit, and then it just all falls apart, and then I kind of forget about it, and then 2 weeks later, I'm like, what the hell happened to that? Well, why aren't I doing that again? Like, why aren't I doing my routine? It kind of just dwindles away and gets away from me when it gets to like the 2 or 3 month mark. So that's consistency and discipline is a big thing.
Why do you think after 2 or 3 months, almost like you get into a better state physically, emotionally, maybe even spiritually, and then you stop doing what made you get to the point where you are? For me, it almost feels like self-betrayal. Why do you stop after 2 or 3 months? Like
I think it's kind of sometimes it comes from this mindset that you kind of only do something when it's a problem. I've had that issue before. So when you're feeling, crap, like you've got the motivation to be like, okay, I want to eat better. I want to do this. But as soon as you start feeling better, or you get, your mood uplifts, or you start building muscle, it's almost like sometimes my brain says, oh, well, we're good now. Like, and then you kind of stop for a bit and you're like, well, I can cheat. I could just cheat this weekend. I can have a bit of bread this weekend because I've done really well for 4 months. Mm-hmm. And then you do that. And then on Monday, you find yourself having bread again. And then on Tuesday, you're like, it's okay. At the weekend, I'll do it. And it's almost like your brain tricks yourself. It's like, oh, we've had a really good 4 months, so you can treat yourself. And then it kind of gets out of control,
I think for you, the root cause must change, and this happened to me. I have been a victim of it as well, like as many people have. It's if you don't change the root cause of why you do things, change your belief around it and your values, you will never change your actions and your behavior on a consistent base. And if for us, for example, like Clayton, he's a relationship coach and he was on the podcast too. He taught me that the reason why you enter a relationship defines the quality of the relationship. And I think if we apply this universal rule not only for relationships but to our actions, right? The reason why we do something defines the quality of why we do it. Then we can leverage almost everything, right? If, for example, the reason is I'm tired, or this, okay, now I get into this routine, and then you're not tired anymore. Oh, reason is gone for doing it, so I'm not consistently doing it anymore. So we need to find deeper reasons or beliefs that we even get rid of or change to then in order to persistently do the stuff we need to do. For you,
and that's also a part of the program as well. His program is also got a lot on stress relieving and mindset and building a new story and stuff and that kind of thing. So it's not just like health training or nutritional training. It's kind of a all-rounded thing to fight those kind of problems. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And right now I've just geared up my life with 2 quite heavy bits of accountability now, which is quite new for me. Like, it's a thing that I've talked about for a long time, but haven't actually put my money where my mouth is.
Yeah.
So,
and to be honest, John,
I'm excited, terrified at the same time.
Sorry, to be honest, it's not the right wording I wanted to say. I wanted to say, give yourself credit. Like today, stop the day a little earlier and be grateful about the things you do, because now you have even 2 accountability partners. And That's what a lot of people call, like, we're always chasing the stuff in the future without looking back where we came from, right? And we always like have this bridge that we feel we need to gap, or this huge gap we need to bridge in order to get where we want to get in the future. But oftentimes, by just looking backwards, reversing this gap, it's like, oh fuck, I have come a long way and I can be
Yeah.
really proud about myself. And so I urge you and then invite you today to take a moment of gratitude for yourself and feel really good about yourself. And I want to honor you because now you put your actions where your mouth is. You have two accountability partners. You jumped on the second show. You can be really proud about yourself. Your financial situation isn't there. Your client base, that's why, isn't there. But you put everything in place to be successful in the future. And I truly believe in you. And I want you to know that what you do right now are the right steps. So honor yourself for the actions you do. Honor yourself for the behavior you put in. And I think you can be really proud about yourself. And then the results will speak later, maybe in 6 months, maybe in a year from now on. But I'm 100% convinced, and I believe in you, that you're going to achieve the results you're going to achieve. So be proud about yourself today for all the stuff you did over the last weeks. And looking into the future, what are your next steps for when we talk next? What do you want to achieve? What's on your plate? And then that's it for today.
Okay, so what I want to achieve this month is I want to put more effort into just the niching down and make sure that that's as solid as it can be, and look at ways that I could maybe, I don't know, I think a couple of reoccurring customers would be nice, like that have I can contact this pitch doctor and we can connect that way, and a few other people like him that have a consistent flow of people looking for that service. That might be a good thing to do to make that happen. And also I think over the next 2 or 3 months to really, like you said at the start, like one of my goals is having a little bit more passive tendencies to my income, because there's just like, it's pretty much the passive tendency right now is pretty much 0%. Most of my 100% of my income is coming from trading time for money. So I think there's ways I can add value, and over the next 2 months, I think like just looking at ways that I can add value, because it's very easy to think about things in a linear way. Like, I'm a designer, I'm a freelancer trading time for money. Like, this is kind of my job. And I think there's a few platforms I can look at, but it has to be small. Like, we don't want to get unfocused, but I think there's definitely other ways, or ways of adding something to my service where I can add more value, and it's not just a linear exchange of time for money. I think we're going to have to look at that a little bit in the background. But right now, I just want to get back into really focusing on my routine and executing some of the stuff with my health and niching down and kind of cementing that. I think it's just doing a lot of the same, really, and just being more proactive and reaching out to certain people and just looking and just really executing on the opportunities, because they're there, and I know what I have to do. That isn't my problem half the time. A lot of my problem is just not doing it. But
and I think you made a huge mindset shift already. Like, in the words you use, I really admire them, because you said looking about ways to add value. Most people would have said looking for ways to make money. I think the later is a self-obsessed state of mind where it's only about me. I need to make some money. So how can I get to where I want to be? I want to have 5K. So it's almost like you're willing to rip people off, right? But if this is not in line with your core values like integrity, honesty, or whatsoever, you're gonna fail, because you act not accordingly to your values. But the way you expressed it was like looking for ways to add value. And I think that's a powerful mindset shift right there, where you realize it's not about me, It's about my customers and their problems, and how can I add value to their life? How can I solve, like make a little contribution to their problems in a way that I can serve them? And I think that's a massive mindset shift right there. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but really good, man.
I think one big realization I had when I went away for 4 days, I felt myself, I was just thinking about things in the wrong way. And I 100% agree with you, because I noticed that basically when I burn out and I get stressed out and I feel like I get to the point of breaking point where I just have to get away for a bit and decompress, most of the time it's fueled by this urge to get something. Like it's like, I have to get money, I have to get more clients, I have to get more work, and I'm just always looking to take and take. And as soon as I kind of like relaxing over the 4 days, you see your mindset, you just like, it's natural to want to give, it's natural to want to add value, and that's where your strength is. And as soon as you start adopting that mind, you just relax. Like you can just relax, because it's about creating. It's not about fighting and taking and like, you know, like pillaging. You know, like it's like that kind of mindset where you're just like, I've got to get something from this client, and you're tapping away on your keyboard, just trying. It doesn't have to be that hard once you realize that it's more about just showing up and showing what you can provide and how you can contribute. And it takes a lot. The energy that takes is a lot lower, because it comes a lot more naturally to us, I feel. And I feel that like in a big way whenever I get burnt out or I feel tired, it tends to be because I'm coming from that mindset of like having to get something instead of giving something. You know?
I agree. And I think this, in order for us to internalize it, because this is what I'm struggling with as well, and I try to really internalize it, and that's what I learned from martial arts or other successful athletes. It's they put in the repetitions, and as you said before, it's the habits, it's the processes that we use to consistently think and feel like, how can I add value, instead of how can I make money, right? And this internalizing this, adding value, comes with repetitions. We really need to force ourselves to consistently ask ourselves, how can I add value? How can I add value to this customer, to this presentation, to his life? You know, and then with the repetitions, we even can add value in moments of crisis or huge stress. And I think this differentiates a really successful great athlete to a normal one, because the technique is there. Both know how to play an instrument, both know how to turn the racket and play tennis. But the really successful ones, they know how to do it. They internalize it even in moments of stress when their mindset isn't there. And I think this truly distinguishes like a great person, athlete, musician, componist, or whatsoever, entrepreneur, from an average one. And that's where we want to get, right? We want to be the best versions of ourselves. So we need to put in the repetitions to get there. And that's what I'm trying to internalize for myself. Is how can I add value? It's almost like a mantra, right? It's not being self-obsessed, not getting. What do I need to do in order to get? But what do I need to do in order to like give, you know, and help someone and add value? So I think that's a powerful mindset shift right there.
Okay.
Thanks for sharing it. Is there anything else you want to share at the end of this show?
No, just again, it's amazing to talk to you. I think it's every week I do this, it's getting easier and more beneficial. You know, there was a bit of resistance in the morning, but I know it's only the second week. But even I think it's great, and I think it's going to really help all of us, not just me. But yeah, I'm just grateful for it and looking forward for the next check-in, and hopefully I have lots more to talk about and some more realizations. So yeah.
Yeah, John, thanks for being honest. Thanks for sharing your journey. I'm excited to talk to you in our next check-in. And until then, I wish you nothing more than success, health, well-being. And if you listeners like the show, please give us a rating on iTunes. And with me, I mean John and I. Tell us how you like the format. What can we improve? What kind of questions should I ask? How should John react? Should we keep it shorter? Please give us comments and reviews. Either use startupgeist.com/podcast and choose the episode you are listening right now, and it will be John Wilkinson /2. You're going to find it. Leave a comment there or on iTunes. Give a rating to the show. We tried our best in being vulnerable, being open, and transparently share our journeys. I do this every Friday. I give you guys a little update. John will be on the show in 6 weeks from now on. We have 3 more shows to go, and I'm really excited that you are on the show, John. And thanks for taking part in this experiment, and talk to you soon.
Yeah, speak to you soon, Danny. See you later.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
StartupGeist Podcast. Entrepreneurs are not born. We are self-made. Please leave an honest rating on iTunes or leave a comment on startupgeist.com/podcast. Thank you for listening.